I have visited 1/3 of all national rail stations in the country, and I'm continuing my quest today to try and visit all of them. But I'm at a tube station, Sudbury Hill, on the Piccadilly line. And that's because just down the road, not even a 2-minute walk I'd say, is Sudbury Hill Harrow station on the Chiltern Railways network. So whilst Sudbury Hill Tube has all the grandeur and a beautiful Art Deco station building, Sudbury Hill Harrow has really not much. And for a London station, it's quite odd, as it doesn't get a weekend service, only an hourly service during the week, and I can't see any ticket machines either. And if you think sharing a name with Sudbury Hill on the Piccadilly line is confusing, wait until you hear when this station first opened in 1906. For the first 20 years of its life, it was known as South Harrow, sharing its name with one stop north of Sudbury Hill on the tube. And so I think it's fairly obvious why I've never used this station before, as I would just use Sudbury Hill on the tube. I think that's why it has quite a poor service. It's on the main line as well, so there's a lot of fast trains coming through. It's probably why I also have the station to myself right now. And I just learnt that trains can use either platform here, because the board was showing the service an hour from now, and I thought, oh no, does that mean my one's been cancelled? But no, it's just leaving from the other platform. I didn't know that they did that here. That must be going to RAF Northolt. So I've made it out of London, into the Chilterns, into Buckinghamshire, to Sear Green and Jordan's station, which is an intriguing name. And this is another odd station, as it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot around here apart from the Beaconsfield Golf Club, which I can't even access from the station. This makes sense though, as this station did actually open as Beaconsfield Golf Links, and it has jumped between including Jordan's in the name over the years. Even the sign and the announcements at Sudbury Hill Harrow, which I tried to show, but it just interlaces with the camera, still only mentioned the station as Sear Green. So I have come out here today primarily for the walk I'm about to do. Ticking off these new stations is merely just a bonus. So I'm going to start by taking this path through the trees to reach the village of Sear Green. Come into the local churchyard in the village, where I'm going to put some sun cream on, because I'm going to need it today. A massive double-decker bus just came rumbling through the village, operating the 104, which runs between Uxbridge and High Wycombe. I'm thinking I might actually catch that bus one day now. It's probably cheaper to get it to High Wycombe than Chiltern Railway, so if I ever do a walk there, yeah, I might get that bus from Uxbridge. So I've walked on up, literally, that's why I'm slightly out of breath, to the adjacent and perhaps somewhat forgotten village of Jordan's. Of course, the station needed to get its name from two different places. And what I'm going to do is take a walk through the woods, because the more I spend in shade today, the less I'm out of the sun, and that sounds like a good trade-off. Okay, well, this isn't very shaded, is it? But actually it is. I've gotten lucky. One cloud has blocked the sun for this walk across the meadow. Okay. This is very exposed now, but at least I can befriend a horse. Hello, mate. I can spot a deer in there. Or should I say muntjac? I think that's specifically a muntjac. Oh, I thought it spotted me then. Wow, this is gorgeous. I have to cut right across though. It's going to be very hot. Let's do it. Drink water, stay hydrated, very important. So I've made it up to one of the largest villages in England, with a population of almost 13,000, Chalfont St Peter, which heavily expanded because of its close proximity to the railway. I have walked across here before on the far side of the village as part of the South Bucks Way, not here at Gold Hill Common. That was a walk from Amersham to Denham that mostly follows the course of the River Misbourne. Up along the South Bucks Way you do also have Chalfont St Giles, and even further just off of the path is Little Chalfont, and that is where you find Chalfont and Latimer stations. So Chalfont is much bigger than you think. There are many parts to it. I actually wanted to come to this common for a while. And just up the road in the direction of the railway, I have the much smaller Austinwood Common to walk across now. It's very green, murky looking water, but a beautiful lake I've come across here nonetheless. So I've come into Bulstrode Camp, which is in the middle of a private estate, as it is an old Iron Age hill fort. It says it's a plateau hill fort, which means it's not really on a hill but on a slightly elevated piece of land. Saying that though, there was still a lot of stairs to reach this. And it's rather impressive to think that this was people's entire livelihoods, their settlement. And now there's just kind of nothing here. It's beautiful. This fort would have had multiple banks. You can kind of tell that because there's different circular trails across this land. It's nicely preserved, like many of the commons around here. It's nice that we have these open spaces to walk through. Speaking of commons, this is Gerrard's Crosses. There is a station here. I have used it before, which is why I'm not going to it today. That was on a walk I ended there from Slough back in 2021. I remember I went along the beginning of the Grand Union Canal Slough Arm. I also had very easy access just off of the footpath to an abandoned manor house, which was pretty cool. I remember it fondly. I remember coming here too. I have decided to come and have a little look at Gerrard's Cross station, as opposite it lies a Tesco which has a story attached to it, as when they were constructing this, the tunnel the railway passes through underneath collapsed. I'm sure that would have caused a lot of disruption. The 104 bus to Uxbridge might have come in very handy then. You can just about see the tunnel down there. As you pass through it on the train, you can tell it's quite newly built. So here's the River Misbourne that I mentioned earlier. So it does rise up in Great Missenden and mostly follows the South Bucks Way. Denham is east of here, so I've not seen it at this point before, and it will continue in that direction until it makes its confluence with the River Colne. I head in this direction across some fields. Coming up to the final parts of the walk, which is going to very much remind me of my last one from Cruise Hill to Bayford, as I'm passing over the M25 motorway again. This time though, it doesn't form the Greater London boundary. I am going to remain in Buckinghamshire. Both walks are also finishing with a golf course, but this one's much more easier to navigate across, as I just stay on the country road straight down. And that road has brought me down to, no one's surprise, Denham Golf Club Station. Well, this is just it. This is the entrance. Okay, well, I'm going to bypass it. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So the original plan for today was to continue beyond Denham Golf Club Station to Denham Station. It's not a considerable distance at all. And from there, because I want to still tick off both stations, I was going to catch a train back one stop and then reverse here. But in terms of timings, it just works a lot better for me to end my walk here, catch a train to change at Denham, as that has more services. But considering I had enough time, I thought I would come up and have a look at the path that I would have taken across the fields to Denham. But now I've got to go back to the station. So we had no ticket machine at Sudbury Hill Harrow this morning, and now the one here at Denham Golf Club is not even working. They have recently extended contactless out this way to High Wycombe, but I've mentioned before how that doesn't include railcard discounts, so it's all been mobile ticketing today. Let's talk ticketing quickly actually, because I noticed a weird anomaly today, something that's quite rare. Buying 2 individual single tickets was cheaper than if I just bought an open return to Sear Green and Jordan's, which I usually do because then I can just jump out at any station along the way if doing a walk between 2 stations. Even more cheaper when you don't actually have to buy your single ticket back from Sear Green, but instead from Denham Golf Club because it's a shorter journey. And with the whole contactless thing and railcard discount, I would encourage always to just check every alternative to see what is the best option for you, what is the cheapest ticket to buy. I think this might be one of the weirdest stations I've ever been to. There are houses here, but it does primarily serve the golf course. To be fair, the golf club did actually request for there to be a station here, and it did open 1 year after, in 1912, after the golf club opened itself. And they have the brand new Chiltern Railway signs. I was surprised this morning because I've not seen these before. I do prefer them over the current one. I can see how this is just a sticker though, because I can see the old sign poking through golf club written up there. I was gonna wait for my train in the shelter on the platform, but it's like a greenhouse in here. I think I might just sit on the platform itself. You know what? Sitting here in the shade will do me quite nicely. This is the even older Chiltern sign lurking away at the back of the platform. I thought that maybe the trains would be hot themselves, but actually it was quite cool on there, which I was surprised by because I'm fairly certain Chiltern Railways, out of all of the train operating companies, on average has the oldest trains in service. It's quite weird to be at Denham because although you can't use your Oyster card here, you can catch a London bus here, the 331, which does indeed serve Uxbridge. I have stood on these platforms before, but I never caught a train from Denham. I just got the 331 to Uxbridge. I'm a little confused by the layout because it looks like the track used to be on this side for that other platform, and yet it's since swapped around. Even then, there seems to be a little platform over on that side too. But yeah, I didn't have long there to change, so I almost forgot to say, things might have been very different and I could have used my Oyster card there if things went very differently. Because prior to World War II, there was a plan to extend the Central Line all the way to Denham. It never made it that far. It now only goes to West Ruislip. But I'm back on the train. My train will skip West Ruislip, but I'm going to look out the left-hand window because you can see a lot of HS2 works, as this is where it's going to come out of the tunnel from London. So that's the bridge for it there, crossing over the reservoirs, and there's a lot of work for it. So compare this footage in a decade's time or whatever when it's complete. The tunnel portal. And then once through West Ruislip, you'll want to look out the right hand side as you pass the Central Line train depot, because you can sometimes see old underground trains in there. Aha, like that. I'm having to change again at South Ruislip. I was always meant to change here. If I stayed on the original train, I would have had a longer wait here, so ticking off Denham was very, very easy as it added no time on at all to my journey.
The next station is Northolt Park. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform when leaving the train. Oyster and contactless payment card users are reminded to touch out on the card readers when leaving the station.
And there goes my last Chiltern chariot of the day. So I've managed to squeeze in one more new station for me today, Northolt Park. I just find these stations a bit odd because they sit on the main line and yet there's only the two tracks passing through, so the fast trains have to whiz through these very small local-ish stations that don't see many trains stopping here. Now, I mentioned at the very, very start of the video at Sudbury Hill Harrow station how that had been renamed from South Harrow. Well, at exactly the same time, this station opened and was known as South Harrow and Roxeth, so you can see why they had to change the name of the other one. This got renamed to Northolt Park 3 years later in 1929 and brings to an end a total of 5 new Chiltern stations for me today, 2 of them being in London, which means I now only have 4 London stations left. Elmstead Woods, Albany Park, Hadley Wood and Castle Bar Park. Take your guess on which one will be my last one. I don't know what you'll win. Nothing, probably. What I thought about doing to get home from here, rather than wait an hour for the next service, was either go to Northolt Station on the Central Line or walk up to South Harrow Station on the Piccadilly Line. Straight up one road. I don't think I'll get lost. That actually looks closer than Northolt Station anyways, because it's not even on the map. Oh, I'm glad that the Network South East sign is still here. I was worried that might have been replaced by now, like the signs at South Ruislip was. I've seen this when passing by on the bus before, but I've never had the chance to get a photo of it. This effectively now ticks off every station on both branches to Aylesbury from London, so which ones have I not been to? Hadnam and Tame Parkway, Bicester North, King's Sutton, Claverden on the Orange Line, and then most of them on the Red Line, so Warwick Parkway, Hatton, Lapworth, Dorridge. I have done Solihull, I've done the Birminghams, and then Smethwick and Rowley Regis. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, okay, I've only got 11 stations left on Chiltern Railways to tick off. I would expect visiting every station on the Chiltern Main Line Part 2 coming at some point. Now, either a pigeon has been struck by a train or a fox has had a lovely meal.